and welcome to a special edition of Tales from the Tips. I'm DA, alongside Georgia Section PGA Professional Chris Fortney. He's filling in for Mick, who's in bed today.
He's night time.
It's night time in Australia. He's got a big morning tomorrow, the little bit of a traditional Memorial Day celebration happening in Australia. So Mick is going to be with the veterans. Early morning wake up. I think he said he had a 5 a.m. wake up call. So Chris said, you know what? We're going to go play some golf. We're going to do a podcast, and we're going to talk a little bit of stroke play golf and team golf.
Team golf.
So, Chris, here, I'm going to lay this out. You ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to go. I want to get your thoughts on the RBC Heritage.
Okay.
I know that's a favorite tournament of yours, obviously not far from us here in Georgia. We'll transition to the Zurich Classic. And the reason we're going to do that today, guys, is one is a stroke play. The other is a team play. How, and Chris, I'm going to ask you as a professional golfer, how do you transition from stroke play mindset to team mindset? What are some of the things that you work on for practicing? What are some of the things that you do for course setup? And then also, what is the communication? Obviously, caddies have to be communicating, but also the players have to communicate. And then hopefully we are joined by Adam Murphy. Adam is the founder of the Miracle for Mom. That is the reason we are out here today at Stone Mountain Golf Club in Georgia. We will be joined by Adam to discuss the Miracle for Mom, the purpose of it, but also what the charitable donations go to. And we're looking forward to 2 golf courses packed today.
Slammed.
So
there's a lot of people out here.
There's a lot of people. It's early. I do not have coffee. At least you've got your Coke. And if you are ready, sir,
let's do it.
Let's grip it and rip it. Okay, so RBC Heritage. I want to first start here. I know you were on a text chain together. You, Mick, and myself. You're a big supporter of some guy named Scotty Scheffler. You pick him every week and every time we're together.
Safe bet.
It's a very safe bet, as Mick and I would say. You're going out on a really long limb here when you go with Scotty. By the way, Scotty is now leading our points total. Obviously, he's the new FedEx Cup leader. So Mick and I are not doing very well with Scotty. We lost points to him this past week. That being said, I want your initial takeaway and your initial thoughts from the RBC Heritage.
Overall, I thought it was a great tournament. You know, the gaps between certain golfers, the strokes that came back, you know, it was a good test with the changes and everything that was going on. Shot making was big. I was a big fan of all those. So overall, I thought it was a great tournament.
Well, it's a shot maker's golf course, and Mick and I talked about this, and the podcast will drop today. Obviously, the winds played a major factor in that golf tournament. The morning crew had a much easier go of it, and we've talked about this on multiple podcasts. You and I have talked about this. Is it the benefit of the A flight, B flight, B flight, A flight, thing? Weather always plays an impact in these golf tournaments. From a shot making perspective, though, what is it when you are out on the course and you're in a tight? I mean, we've played some pretty tight golf courses here in Georgia. Mm-hmm. When you can't feel that wind, what is your mindset? Like, how do you approach like that tunnel, almost that wind tunnel that that as soon as that ball clears the apex of the trees, it's going to get moved around. Mm-hmm. What do you do to approach that, and what is your shot? How do you go about your shot selection?
You know, you have to put yourself in the mindset of again, like when it comes off the club face, how long do you have until it's affected by any amount of wind that's up there or what it's doing? You know, you can't adjust too much, but you got to trust your swing and trust the ball flight of what it's going to do. I like to I just look at it and say, okay, we're going to go, 10 yards this way or 10 yards this way, and then hope it does everything we plan on it to do.
Right. Let me ask you this. Obviously there were some subtle changes. Davis Love's golf group made subtle changes to the golf course. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Mick and I we had a couple of different thoughts on it. I want to get your opinion, your impressions on the changes that you saw out there. Obviously, one being lengthened. That's a big change because that's not a big ball. That's not a big ballpark there at Heritage. So just changing length on one, which is already a tough hole. What were some of the things that you saw, takeaways from that?
I saw a lot of the greens and the bunkers. I mean, that was the big thing for me, is just that kind of thing. I didn't get to sit down and watch a whole lot of what I wanted to, but bunkers were big.
Yeah.
And greens.
What, obviously Fitzy played phenomenal. To hold off, and Mick called it the almost shot of the year. Now, he called Gary Woodland's hole out from almost the same spot almost a better shot. I countered with Fitzy's shot was better because of the pressure he was under. How do you think Matt held off Scotty in that playoff? And really, do you think that 4-iron to 10 feet put the pressure onto Scotty, and then all of a sudden, like we just talked about, the wind really got that ball? Or what do you think went into that?
I don't think there's a whole, and this is just my take back on it, I don't think Scotty gets rattled a lot, but I think coming down the stretch or looking at that and watching him stick that club into there, it's going to put a different mindset in. It's like, you know what, you have to do something now.
Yeah.
And you have to make it good. And I think that might have swung a little bit.
Yeah.
And put a different thought in his head.
Yeah. I mean, we've all hit that balloon ball. I mean, and as soon as it leaves the club face, you know exactly what it's going to do. And then the mindset comes in at that point. Now you just have to chip it in and hope he misses.
Correct.
Or chip it really close so you have a tap in and hope he misses.
Right.
So with that mindset, so we've gone from stroke play and now we head to the Zurich.
Mm-hmm.
Team play.
I love team play.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Welcome back to Tales from the Tips. We are joined by a special guest, Adam Murphy from Atlanta News First, but most importantly, the founder of the Miracle for Mom Foundation. Adam, thank you for having us.
Well, thank you guys for being here. I mean, I really appreciate the support, and it's terrific to see you guys doing your podcast here. We're talking golf. What a perfect place to talk golf, right?
Listen, that's what, Chris and I were talking about it in the podcast. We literally just transitioned. We were talking about the Zurich, and really we were talking about what is it like to play stroke play as a single player and then transition to team golf. This is the true team golf. This is scramble. There's a lot of pencil use of a pencil in this tournament. But what made you, when you guys, as you were forming your foundation, what was it about golf that made it important for you to have that as one of your platforms to fundraise?
Yeah, it's a good question, because when we began the foundation about 14 years ago, it was like, well, how can we best bring attention to raising funds and supporting, a cure for some of these brain diseases? I mean, we've all heard of ALS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, PSP, CBD, MSA. They're all neurodegenerative disorders. And most of us know somebody that's had one. And it's like, well, how can we reach the largest number of people? And what's a fun way to do it where we think we can get good support?
Yeah.
And, you live and you learn. And we started asking around, and it was pretty much, an obvious golf is a good way to raise money and have a good time.
Yeah.
That was the feedback we were getting. It was obvious sort of feedback from people saying, well, you ought to do a charity golf tournament. I had no idea when we started this thing that we would have the turnout we have this year. I think when we first started, we maybe had 65, 70 golfers show up, which was great. We didn't know what to expect. We played on one course, and now here we are. This is our 10th annual Miracle Open Charity Golf Tournament. We have 244 golfers, so 61 foursomes over 36 holes. We play both courses here at the Stone Mountain Golf Club, and it's become, this great event that people love to just play golf and raise money. And it's the best part about playing here at Stone Mountain Golf Club too is we get a Friday.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of charity.
There's not a lot that get to do that. Yeah.
So it's a really good time, and we raise money for treatment and a cure, hopefully one day, for all of these brain diseases. And then also the other part of our foundation, we raise the money and provide medical equipment and supplies, home health care that families need across this country, but they're not getting the support they need from maybe their insurance.
Yeah.
And I saw it firsthand with my mom. That's what inspired this whole thing.
So that was what I was going to ask you. What inspired this? What was the chain reaction to this? And you mentioned your mom, and obviously Miracle for Mom makes it kind of explains it a little bit. But what happened? Like, how did it transpire? And then eventually you and Dad started the charity and the foundation and got this thing rolling.
Well, I wanted to support a cause for a very long time. I doing what you do, doing what I do, being in television, I knew I had a platform and I wanted to give back in some way. And I wasn't sure what that was. And then around the time I was really kind of looking into doing that, my mom started having these odd symptoms where she was sensitive to bright light. She started like losing her balance and falling, and she was 60.
Okay.
And so, we couldn't figure it out. But finally, she was diagnosed with progressive supranuclear palsy, or PSP. Then it became clear. I said, wow, okay, I didn't expect this.
Yeah.
But let's do something. It was very important for me personally. And one of the ways I cope with it, I watched my mom. Her mind was mentally there, but she, began to lose basic functions. Swallowing, walking, talking, balance. I mean, it was sad. It was so sad to see. So for me, part of the coping process was I need to do something. This is it. This is the calling. I'm going to do something for brain diseases. And in addition to that, it was important to me that I did something while my mom was still alive.
Sure. And
I didn't want her to think we were just, when the diagnosis came down, that we were just going to say, okay, well, that's it. We'll just accept it. No, we're not going to accept it.
Yeah.
And I wanted her to know that it mattered, that we were going to try to do everything we could to find treatment and cure. My mom passed away at the age of 67. She was able to attend many of the first events.
Oh, great.
And, I know she's watching down because like a week ago, I looked at the weather forecast and it called for rain.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little bit of rain Thursday and Friday all day.
Yeah.
And then miraculously, like a day or two later, I'm like, everything shifted back 2 or 3 days. The sun's out. It's beautiful. And
great weather.
I just know in my heart, it's like my mom's, she's got a hand in it, so she's like, we're going to make it a good look. If this is, what you guys have done, and now for other people, we're going to make sure it's a good day.
Yeah. It's, just recently going through what I had to deal with my dad with his dementia.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, to your point, you watch a loved one going through this, and you're having conversations with them, but then there's certain things that they just functionally can't do, or they're not them. It becomes like, when we were going through the funeral process, people would say, oh, I haven't seen your dad in a while. And I'm like, my dad hasn't been the same for the last 2.5 months. He isn't the same Joe that and that's the scary part about what happens to the mind and the brain and what it can do to take over the body. What are some of the ways, like, if I'm listening to this podcast and I hear this, but I've got a family member, what are some of the ways that I can go about, reach out and connecting with you guys to find ways to get treatment?
Sure. Yeah. And that's the cool thing. Like, we have families that we've helped all across the country that need medical equipment. They need some assistance with home health care, which is extremely expensive, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yep.
And so we have people that will go to our website, miracleformom.org, miracleformom.org. We have an application on there too. So you can fill out an application. And if you feel that you need some assistance, do it.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. Don't feel bad about it. We're here so that we can make your life a little bit better as you're going through a very tough time.
Yeah.
And that was important to me to make sure that was one of the main functions of this foundation. Obviously, we want to give, and we are, to research purposes. And the beauty of being here in Atlanta, we have the Emory Brain Health Center in our backyard, and they become a really good partner. And we've sent them, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're doing some great clinical trials. We hope that one day they'll find treatment to slow progression or maybe cure one of these diseases. And the theory is that if you find treatment or a cure for one of them, because they're similar between all of them, that you may be able to treat all of them. So please, reach out to us, look us up, or if you want to just send us an email, you have questions or you need somebody to talk to, we get that all the time. And we're happy to do it.
Yeah. That's miracleformom.org. Go on there. Adam's team is happy to connect with you guys. Okay, what is the goal for this year? What are we fundraising? What's our fundraising goal?
I appreciate that question because from day one, and this is our 10th annual Miracle Open, from day one, it's been a goal of mine to raise $100,000 at this event. Okay. And we've been climbing, and in the last 2 years, we've done more than 80,000. We did upper 80s last year. We're on track this year. We've done more. We've brought in more sponsors. We have more golfers, record number of golfers. So I mentioned 244, and our goal is 100,000. And I really think we're close. And if we have a good day on the course today, then we may do that. But if you're not able to be here, maybe you're watching this later or listening to this podcast later, you can go to miracleformom.org. And at the top of the page, there's a donate tab.
Perfect.
And if it comes in, in the terms of this tournament over the next few days or what have you, or you mentioned this is for the golf tournament, we will apply it to the golf tournament. Hopefully we'll get to that.
We're going to get there. I know it. I know it. I think we're going to get there. I know you and Mike and I talked earlier in the wintertime as we were getting ready for this. And, thanks to Mike Conti and the group at Sports Radio 92.9 The Game, helping us get connected with Adam and getting us out here. We've kind of taken this platform globally. So we've got folks all over the world that this can impact and also that can contribute. So we're excited about this. Thanks for having us out here.
Thank you. Listen, 92.9 The Game in Atlanta has just been a blessing. They do great sports talk radio in town. And so you guys being a part of this, it was so important for me, to find a partner, and you guys have just taken that and wrapped your arms around it. Nobody else has done that.
The boys are a little tired this morning. We had a lot of going on last night.
But even your podcast and reaching a broader audience, this is exciting. We haven't done this before, and this is the first time we've done a podcast out here where we are reaching more people, and we can help people. I mean, I said across the country, we're happy to help people anywhere, really. So, if you're out there and we can be somebody that can step in to assist, let us know. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you guys very much.
I do want to do this. I know you mentioned you have some new sponsors. Anyone that you want to shout out, anyone you want to give a nice thank you to, because I know Bridgestone has been a long-time partner of yours. Obviously big in the golf space with us. Who else? Who else is there?
Bridgestone Golf every year. They give the golfer gifts. It's amazing. Everybody gets a case. I mean, it's like $65.
I was going to say it's a great gift. I may be using a sleeve still this year.
Absolutely. So we thank them, of course. We've had some great food partners like the Varsity. It's an
local,
iconic restaurant in Atlanta. They bring their food truck out. Everybody can grab a hot dog or a hamburger at the post ceremony, which is nice. This year, our platinum sponsor is Trauma Services. They're a biohazardous cleanup company. They are a great business all over the country, and we're just thrilled to have them as a platinum. We've got several, other terrific sponsors too. This year, our lunch sponsors, Marietta Diner, Chick-fil-A does the breakfast. So, I mean, I could go on, and I know I'm missing somebody in there, but for those that stepped up and have helped us, including 92.9 and the way you're able to assist, is so much appreciated.
Honestly, it's a great partnership. It's something obviously now a little bit closer to home for me. But I know when Mike and I first met, this is our third or fourth year being out here now. It's one of those that it's on the calendar now.
Thank you.
We're just trying to get Adam to get out of draft weekend. But other than that, a Friday in April is never a bad thing in the state of Georgia. And so thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Looking forward to we're looking forward to contending for that pink jacket.
Yes, how can we forget that, right?
Yeah.
Winners get to don the pink jackets. It's a really cool tradition playing off of the Masters, of course. And we have some nice prizes. And you know what? If sounds fun to you, I mean, just be on the lookout. Go to our website. You can learn more about next year's event.
Yeah.
But
any other events throughout the year? Do you guys put on any other events?
well, it's funny. We are working on a second event. We used to do an event called the Pizza and Beer Benefit, and we would do that around college football.
Two really good things that I think Chris and I both like. Yeah.
And we used to do that.
Well.
But this year we're looking at maybe a pickleball event, like a pickleball social tournament.
All right.
/ tournament. So that would be something we do probably in the fall.
Yeah.
We're looking into doing that. So just, check us out and keep an eye on us. We'll have more to come.
Well, I know you've got a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans and alumni out there, so probably keep it off of a Georgia
That's right.
a Georgia game weekend. And thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Adam Murphy, Miracle for Mom, miracleformom.org. Check them out, but also if you can, give them a donate.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more.
All right. So we go from RBC Heritage, stroke play, individual play, different mindset, windy course, tight, to TPC, Louisiana for the Zurich Classic. Team event. Chris, my question to you on this. You've played in a lot of different events. You mentioned you are a fan of the team event.
I am.
What makes a team event and stroke play event so much different, and what is the preparation for it?
I think the best part about it, in my opinion, you have a team member with you, so it's almost like you and your caddy are always there one-on-one. Now you have a partner in caddy, so it's almost like you have more people to talk through. Hey, you should hit this. I'm going to do this. Let's try. And it's just more visions, I guess is a good word, onto what we need to see out there.
Well, but the format also plays a little bit. I mean, yesterday you played, on Thursday and Saturday they play 4-ball.
Mm-hmm.
Friday and Sunday they play alt shot. Mm-hmm. Obviously, two extremely different formats. We go from really you're playing stroke play, but in 4-ball you can have a bad hole as long as your partner is playing well.
Right.
In alt shot, you better hope that your partner is not playing bad.
Right.
Because you're going to be finding yourselves in a lot of tricky situations. So let me ask you that. What is the mindset difference between 4-ball and alt shot?
Well, I think there has to be a lot more discussions when you come into like the Friday or the Sunday when we're doing alternate shot is if I feel confident, it goes into scrambles too.
Yeah.
I feel this is, you get a scramble in there, everybody's going to try to bomb it, and you're out of position.
Yep.
One person might be good at a 30-yard chip and everybody else is not, so if we're partners in an alternate shot and we're a certain distance and my number is going to be 110, I need you to be at 110.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to hit something and put me out of position. So
right.
There's a lot more discussion on what do we need to do? Where do we need to be?
That's a great point. And I think a lot of scramble teams, and we are in a lot of different scramble events,
right?
With what our jobs are. You have the quintessential bomber. You got a couple of guys that are mid handicaps, and sometimes you have a really high handicap or you have a scratch that can really get you out of some of those tricky positions. I think scramble is sometimes what everybody does is put the weakest golfer first, or, hey, just get us out there guy.
Right.
And then it moves back to bomber guy. I think there's a lot of strategy lost just right at the tee.
100%.
What are some of the things that, like, when you're putting your teams together, whether it's a scramble event or, when you're really in some of these competitive events that you guys play in, what is the way that you structure your teams?
Honestly, like when we go out there, I think it's just if you're ready to hit, you go and hit. Obviously, there's people who've played the courses that we play.
Yeah.
And they have more knowledge on those. So it's like, hey, if you feel like, you need to go first to put us there, go ahead and put us there.
Yeah.
And then other people have the freedom to kind of relax and hit the next one. It's the second shot where you need to really worry about
order,
where we're going to be.
Yeah.
And the people that we do play with, though, they don't have the pressure of, we're going to be here. We all just hit the ball.
Right.
That's another thing, too, is just talking through and being relaxed.
Yeah. So obviously the tour guys, we just talked about a lot of communication. The field isn't the strongest at the Zurich. Let's just be candid. And that's one of the things that Mick and I talk about in the podcast in episode 75 is, what, you look at some of the stronger teams, obviously a Brooks Koepka and Shane Lowry, interesting group, should be technically favorite, but these guys have never played together.
Correct.
They're buddies. I'm sure they've played rounds together and they've played cash games against each other, but they've never played a true.
Not in this format.
Not in this where FedEx points are on the line, status is on the line, a pretty substantial purse is on the line. For Brooks, this is a whole nother level of, category. This could put him into some of the signature events,
right? Which
then helps other tour members, because if you go from a 70 field signature event next week, Brooks Koepka becomes qualified for a signature event. You now have 72 guys
right
in the field next week, because the PGA Tour isn't decreasing size to add him. They're increasing size with him. So I think from that standpoint, this is a big week for Brooks and Shane, and they didn't get off to the greatest start when we're recording this podcast. I think Alt Shot will balance it today. I think those two will, a little bit of the cream will rise to the top today. I know yesterday it looked like a foursome scramble score at the top of the leaderboard with a
14 under.
14 under, 29-29. That's pretty good shooting for scramble golf for a twosome.
Right.
What are who are some of the guys that you're paying attention to? What are some of the groups that you're paying attention to? And what are some of your takeaways that you're hoping to walk away with from the Zurich this year?
I always follow the Shane group, no matter who he's playing with, just because he's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
I want to see him and Brooks, like the way they talk or the way they act, because they're going to joke and they're going to laugh. And I think that's where this team event brings more to. Like, yes, it's serious. Yes, it has all this on the line. But at the end of the day, when you're just playing with a friend of yours and it's something different, there's that.
Yeah.
I always like to watch. I'll watch Fitzpatrick's. I always like to watch people after they win.
Yeah.
How do you react the next week?
Sure. I mean, they are on a hot streak, both him and Alex. I mean,
right.
You got 3 out of the last, I think, 5 or 6 tournaments between the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour. Now, you've got to take the Masters and put that over into a different category. That's a major. But realistically, these guys have won 3 out of the last 5.
Yep.
The Fitzpatrick boys are on a heater, so they say. What else?
I just watched the wild card, Joel Damon.
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of just watching.
You never know what Joel's going to do.
Course is like. It's interesting.
Let me ask you this question. I asked Mick this. Is the Zurich Classic a part of the 2027 PGA schedule next year?
If they can get some bigger names back in there, I will say yes.
Yeah.
It's the flip side is you have some new players that actually get to be on this platform and get to do it. But if you don't start bringing some names back, I don't think it'll be there.
I think it has a place. I think a one-off team event has a place as in a full open field. When you're talking about open to the full tour membership. I don't think it's great sandwiched in between 6, 4 signature events and 2 majors. I think they really missed the mark this year on that. And that plays into a softer field, so to speak. But these are the weeks that I love to see guys like a Michael Brennan or a Novak or some of these guys that this is their first win on tour, and it catapults them into another win, an individual win, and then, and on and on. And that's how we develop a stronger tour versus just letting, following the signature events.
Right. And I think that's where I think, there are new players this week, obviously with only being 12 big names or however many big names are going to be out there.
Because you've got the Cadillac next week at Doral, and then you go literally to Truist for the Truist at Quail Hollow, 2 back-to-back signature events. Oh, and then by the way, then you're at you're up at the PGA,
right?
So your tournament. I call it your tournament since you're a part of the membership. Okay, last thing before we get ready to go hit some golf balls and hit some putts and get ready for this thing, or more so go to the bar. We have the Mitsubishi Electric Classic here in Atlanta. Stuart Sink. How much of a heater is this guy on? I mean, 63 on Sunday, wins the senior PGA, and now is the tournament host here. And, oh, by the way, modified Stableford scoring system at TPC Sugarloaf. Thoughts, sir?
Will it speed up the 6-hour round that they had last year?
Yeah.
That's the question. No, it's going to be interesting because they're going to have rain, pretty good rain all day tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Sunday will be good. There will be no rain, but
course will definitely be soft. It is very firm and fast out here right now. We are in a drought-like situation out here in Georgia. One of the questions, I mean, we've talked a lot about strategy this week. Talk about another form of strategy. Now you really have to have a different mindset approach during Stableford scoring versus just standard stroke play. I mean, do you risk going for an eagle more because it's worth -5 or 5 points? Or do you play it a little bit safer on those par fives? I mean, 18, I have a feeling 18 this year will determine the tournament. Somebody's going to lay up and somebody's going to go for it. And the guy that goes for it is going to win the golf tournament. And they're going to be trailing as they stand on 18T.
Well, the trick will be how much rain do they get on Saturday to go into that approach shot.
Point.
Are you going to have enough to get to that top of the hill or a little bit over?
Yeah.
Is it going to be wet? Like, how wet will it be?
Yeah. If you're in that little,
it'll be wet.
Yeah.
Do you have a chance to go after it? Because there is water left.
Yeah.
And there's a grandstand right behind it.
Water all in front and a little to the left. There's that big bunker right behind. There's the bunker that protects the right side of the green.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not an easy bunker, by the way.
And there's not a lot of room from the edge of that bunker onto that green.
No.
Before you run into the water.
Right.
That's going to be trouble right off the bat.
Yeah. If you don't hit a perfect bunker shot, that thing's in the water on the other side.
Yeah. Like you don't have to lay it, but I mean, I think that's your play if you need some points. But
I'm interested. I can't wait to get out there. I know you're going to join me out there. We're going to have some fun. We're going to be joined hopefully by Joe Davis from ATL Golfs. We are currently set up to be out on the patio. I was informed last night that we are on the patio. I don't know where that means. We could be stuck in the patio of somebody's backyard. I don't know. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready for this out there?
I think we're ready today.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day.
You've played a little bit more golf than I have. I haven't swung a club in a while, besides my basement. We're going to have some fun.
It's going to be a good time.
We're going to be joined, we're joined by James from La Cima Restaurant Group, our big partner for Twin Peaks. And I brought a scratch golfer with us. Yeah, I brought another one. So I got a Golf Pro, a scratch handicap, and then 2 guys that can drink some beer and have some fun.
We're just not going to do a lot with them hitting the ball.
Right. That's it. Thanks for teeing it up with us on Tales from the Tips. If you're catching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a like, hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment. Let me know how you think of what you think of Chris over here as the main fill-in. Obviously, we're not going to change that. He does an amazing job. You can find Tales from the Tips wherever you find your favorite podcast: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and now we are available on the iHeart podcast platform. Just search for Tales from the Tips under podcast. Give us a like, hit the plus button, subscribe, and enjoy. Chris, you can find us on all the socials: Instagram, X, and Mick's favorite,
TikTok.
TikTok, that's right. And you can join Chris when he's not on the podcast, watching this debacle happen live as we record on the Twitch. We want to thank all of our fans that were watching last night. Hopefully we've got a few that woke up early this morning with us today. But you can always catch us live on the Twitch. Well, my friend, we are going to keep our drives perfectly straight. Those tight shots into the green are going to be tap-in putts.
It's going to be easy.
And we're going to have a low score. I'm shooting for minus, I think 16 or 18 is going to win this thing today. So we're going to have to go low. We're going to have some fun. Gorgeous weather, good drinks, great charity, miracleformom.org. We look forward to seeing you next time on Tales from the Tips. We're out of here.